Welcome to our U.S. briefing show. Today, we're diving into some hot topics. First up, a former U.S. official is pushing for a new Pacific Defense Pact among the U.S., Japan, Australia, and the Philippines to stand up to China's growing military ambitions. It's like building a superhero team, but with some tricky diplomatic hurdles along the way. Next, in Wisconsin, a man named Demetric Scott is in hot water for allegedly forging threatening letters aimed at President Trump to help another guy get deported. It's a wild story about deception and legal battles. And finally, the US is optimistic about striking a trade deal with India, but there's some tension with China, especially over arms and economic policies. The geopolitical chess game continues to get more intense. Please continue to watch for more details. The South China Morning Post reports a compelling call from Ely Ratner, a former senior US official, advocating for a formal Pacific Defense Pact among the United States, Japan, Australia, and the Philippines. This proposal is driven by the urgent need to counter China's expanding military ambitions and influence across Asia, with Ratner emphasizing that Beijing's goal of regional dominance, reunification with Taiwan, control over the South China Sea, and weakening U.S. alliances, poses a significant threat to the regional order. The suggested pact aims to be a more structured alternative to the existing Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, Quad, which, while fostering deepening military cooperation, lacks formal commitments. Ratner highlights the growing alignment and cooperation among these nations, asserting that a formalized alliance would serve as a crucial deterrent, despite facing diplomatic hurdles and regional skepticism, especially from Southeast Asian countries wary of provoking China or being perceived as aligning too closely with U.S. interests. The Associated Press details a disturbing case involving a Wisconsin man, Demetric Scott, accused of forging a threatening letter aimed at President Donald Trump to manipulate immigration proceedings. The letter, falsely claiming that Morales-Reyes, a Milwaukee resident, had threatened to kill Trump, was used to justify Morales-Reyes's arrest and deportation efforts. However, investigations revealed inconsistencies in handwriting and testimonies, clearing Reyes of involvement. Scott, who is awaiting trial on unrelated charges, admitted to writing the letter and plotting to influence his legal case by involving ICE. This case underscores the dangers of misinformation in immigration enforcement and highlights the complexities faced by victims, such as Reyes, who are caught in a web of criminal manipulation while trying to secure legal protections like the U visa. The South China Morning Post also reports on U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick's optimistic outlook on a potential trade agreement with India, urging New Delhi to open its markets further, reduce arms purchases from Russia, and distance itself from the BRICS alliance led by China and Russia. Lutnick emphasizes that India's efforts to buy military equipment from the U.S. and its moves toward de-dollarization within BRICS are positive signs of closer U.S.-India cooperation. However, he cautions India against deepening ties with China and Russia, which could hinder negotiations and U.S. interests. Meanwhile, ongoing trade tensions persist, with the U.S. imposing tariffs on Indian exports and challenging trade benefits, complicating the bilateral relationship. Lutnick's remarks reflect a broader U.S. strategy to strengthen economic ties with India while encouraging it to pivot away from traditional alliances that could threaten U.S. influence and regional stability. The Yahoo U.S. article paints a vivid picture of the sweeping potential impacts of the One Big Beautiful Bill on New Mexico, emphasizing the human stories behind the policy changes. The bill proposes significant cuts to Medicaid, which could threaten healthcare coverage for over 90,000 residents in a state already grappling with high poverty levels, risking the closure of rural hospitals that depend heavily on Medicaid and Medicare funding. The proposed reduction of $267 billion from food aid programs like SNAP could also affect more than 460,000 New Mexicans, with the potential loss of $300 million in benefits, highlighting the real-world consequences for families struggling to make ends meet. Meanwhile, extending tax cuts and eliminating taxes on tips are seen as a boon for wealthier households and the restaurant industry, but these measures draw criticism for widening income inequality and undercutting workers' rights. The bill's approach to student loans and Pell Grants, along with a controversial ban on AI regulation, further illustrates the broad scope of its influence, raising questions about accessibility to education and the regulation of emerging technologies that could shape the future economy. The South China Morning Post reports on the optimistic mood in Asian markets, where Hong Kong stocks are approaching a 2-month high amid hopes for positive U.S.-China trade negotiations. The anticipation of a possible phone call between President Donald Trump and Xi Jinping fuels investor confidence, with the Hang Seng Index climbing 1.1% and tech giants like Alibaba and Tencent seeing gains. The broader regional indices, including Japan's Nikkei and South Korea's Kospi, also show modest increases, reflecting a sense of cautious optimism in the face of ongoing trade tensions. Notably, Chinese electric vehicle maker Li Auto soared 5.2%, illustrating investor enthusiasm for innovation and growth sectors. The article captures the delicate balance of geopolitical tensions and economic hopes, with markets rallying on the promise of diplomatic engagement, even as global uncertainties persist. The Yahoo US feature on the High Ground Memorial Park offers a heartfelt tribute to a place that transcends traditional remembrance, blending history, community support, and active fundraising efforts. Since its founding in the 1980s by a Vietnam veteran, the High Ground has grown into the second-largest veterans park in the United States, honoring sacrifices from multiple wars through poignant memorials and living tributes like the soil-filled Div Effigy Mound. Beyond its solemn monuments, the park actively supports veterans through programs like Vets and Guitars, mental health initiatives, and outreach projects, addressing issues such as homelessness and PTSD. Central to its mission are fundraising rides like the annual Honor Ride, which bring together hundreds of riders in a collective act of remembrance and gratitude, demonstrating the deep emotional bonds within the veteran community. Liz Hamilton's stories of these events reveal a place where remembrance, healing, and community converge, inspiring hope and resilience in those who serve and those who remember. Australian Broadcasting Corporation reports on the swift and tense conclusion of the second round of peace talks between Ukraine and Russia in Istanbul, where, despite brief negotiations, little progress was made towards ending the conflict. Zelensky's Ukraine, having executed a daring drone attack dubbed Operation Spider's Web, has demonstrated its resilience and strategic ingenuity by damaging or destroying a significant portion of Russia's air force, including 13 bombers. This audacious strike, carried out just before the negotiations, was a calculated move to bolster Ukraine's bargaining position and reassure international allies of its capacity to defend itself. Zelensky's team worked covertly for 18 months to execute this operation, which exposed vulnerabilities in Putin's military and showcased Ukraine's ability to reach deep into Russian territory, challenging the perception of Russian invincibility. The attack has shifted the strategic landscape, forcing Russia to confront the reality that Ukraine can strike far beyond its borders, potentially altering the course of future negotiations and highlighting Ukraine's determination to leverage force as a means of deterrence. AP's top photos of the day vividly capture the global spectrum of human experience and conflict, from the joyful innocence of children celebrating International Children's Day outside Romania's parliament to the somber aftermath of violence in Gaza City, where smoke billows from Israeli airstrikes. The images also portray moments of celebration, such as PSG players triumphantly holding their Champions League trophy in Munich, and scenes of resilience and everyday life, like Afghan children playing cricket amid ongoing turmoil. These photographs serve as powerful visual narratives, showcasing the resilience of communities, the intensity of political campaigns in Seoul, and the natural serenity of alpacas grazing in Austria, all woven together in a tapestry that reflects both the beauty and brutality of our world. From the solemnity of a Pope's Mass at the Vatican to the chaos of Boulder's investigation after a recent attack, the collection underscores the diverse human stories unfolding across the globe, reminding us of the profound impact of current events on daily life and the enduring spirit of hope amid adversity. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.
Morning coffee, fresh off the press. Reading headlines, feeling blessed. World keeps turning, stories unfold. Every moment, news gets told. Flipping channels, clicking tabs. Feeding my mind's hunger grabs. Facts to know. Never stopping, always go. Scrolling, swiping, reading on. Daylight breaks into dawn. Headlines and headlines, can't get enough.